this video, we are preparing to make the Solomon's knot top. It's an oversized, relaxed fit, lacy layer that's perfect for wearing over a summer tank top. Hello, it's Jen. I popped on my wireless mic so I could talk a little bit about materials for this project. For the video, I used Landscape's Breeze by Lion Brand Yarn, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about yarn choice in just a minute. We're also using a 5mm crochet hook, which is a really nice size for a medium weight yarn. And once we get into gauge in the pattern, I really don't think you'll need to adjust your hook size, although you might need to adjust your stitch size, and that will become more clear as we start talking more about the Solomon's knot stitch and how that's formed. You're always going to need a yarn needle for weaving in your loose ends and a pair of scissors handy. This is a project where stitch markers are seriously helpful. I highly recommend them. If you don't have stitch markers, you don't need to run out and buy them. You can use scrap pieces of yarn, anything that you can use just to mark a row on your project. So even something like a safety pin would work just fine. And then because gauge is important when you're sizing a wearable, a top like this one, you'll really want to have a ruler or a measuring tape handy just so you can make sure that your finished product is the size you want it to be. So these are your basic materials to work through the Solomon's knot top, but let's talk a little bit more about yarn. So let me move these other materials out of the way. I chose a medium weight yarn for this project, which really opens up quite a large world of yarn possibilities. I chose Landscape Breeze, which is a self-striping yarn, and sometimes these can be a little challenging to work with. What I liked about it is it's a chainette style yarn, so it does have a light and airy feel to it, even though it is a medium weight. The pattern is going to be presented in 3 different sizes, and for the video I do the middle of those 3 sizes, and in order to make that I needed 4 skeins of the Landscape's Breeze. These come put up in 157 yard or 144 meter lengths, so we're looking at around 600 yards. This is for the median size, so if you're making yours a little larger or a little smaller, you might end up giving or taking a skein. The other thing I might note about using a self-striping yarn like this one is that if you're having to make joins, and at some point you are going to have to join a new skein, sometimes you lose a little bit of yardage when you're trying to join the next skein up and have those colors match perfectly. Also in this project I had one skein that had several knots in it, and that threw me off, and I ended up using a little bit more yarn just because I had a skein that had a few more knots from the manufacturer. So that's something to keep in mind. I am currently making up another one just for myself using Barocco Remix. And if you wonder why I didn't use this in the first place, I just didn't have this in stock. This is a favorite of mine. I really like Remix. It's 100% recycled fibers. It includes nylon, cotton, acrylic, silk, and linen. It really does have sort of a cotton linen feel to it, a little bit of a tweed look. It comes in a lot of really pretty colors. I mean, look at the colorway, and this is just what I happen to have here at my studio. There are more colors than what you see before you. So this Barocco, it does come in a DK and a medium weight, so if you get the Barocco Remix, make sure you get the medium weight or the size 4. Let me slide that out of the way. So, and there'll be a medium and a 4 on the packaging right there. This is put up in, let's see, 216 yards. So each skein of the Barocco Remix has 216 yards. So the median size, 3 skeins should be more than enough. If you want to make a larger garment, you might want to add a skein. And once again, if you're making a smaller one, you might need a little bit less. So I really do like this fiber quite a bit. Another yarn that I think would be a nice pick for this project is Comfy in worsted weight by Knit Picks. This color is called Flamingo, which I think just would happen to be kind of a fun color for summer. It is a 4, it is a medium. This is put up in only about 100 yards. Let me see if I can find that for you. Hello. Aha. So this is put up in 109 yard or 50 gram skeins. So you're going to need probably 6 or 7 of these for the median size. But this is a really nice feeling cotton. You know, some cottons don't feel as soft. Some of them can feel a little bit rougher, and I really like the feel of comfy. It kind of lives up to its name. Another cotton that I really like is Cotton Supreme, and this is by Universal Yarn. This one has a really nice soft feel to it. It's definitely a medium weight, 180 yards, so 3 or 4 skeins is going to take care of you once again. This comes in lots of really pretty colors. I don't always go for red, but I really loved this shade of red, so I think this is a pretty one too. So whether you prefer solids or a self-striping, here's another colorway of that Landscape Breeze. I think that's sort of a pretty one. Here's the one I originally showed you. And Landscape Breeze comes in some other pretty colorways as well. So, but whether you do a self-striping or a solid, just remember that you're going to want a medium weight yarn. You're going to need around 600 yards for the median size, and we're going to talk sizes, but probably the most you're going to need is 700 yards of any yarn, and a little less if you're making a smaller size. So that should be enough to help you go out and either shop your stash or pick up yarn that you would really like to use for this project. This is a great summer top, so this is a really nice time to pick a summer cotton or something like the Barocco Remix. Okay, so there's yarn, hook size, stitch markers. That's all you're going to need to get going in on this project. Let's take a moment to break down the design elements of this top. So this is going to be a Solomon's knot top. The Solomon's knot stitch is going to give us 4-way stretch and a very nice open lacy fabric. If I break down the design, this is a top that has a relaxed fit. It features a scooped neckline and 3/4 batwing sleeves. Batwing sleeves will mean that when your arms are resting at your sides, the hem will have a gentle curve and there'll be a little more extra flowy fabric. When your arms are extended, the fabric extends, the hemline becomes straight, and you have that extra fabric attaching the sleeves to the body of the top, giving that look of the batwing. I'm going to be presenting this tutorial in 3 different widths. Because the style of this top is relaxed and oversized, it's hard to equate these sizes to standard sizes, but you can roughly think of them as small to medium, large to extra large, and 2X to 3X. It is not hard to tweak or customize these sizes if you want yours to be somewhere in the middle. This will also be true of the length. It will be presented in 21 inches or 53 centimeters long. However, this is also quite easy to customize. To make the Solomon's knot top, we will of course be using the Solomon's knot stitch. You will not need any previous experience with this stitch in order to make the top. At the beginning of the pattern tutorial, I walk you through how to create the Solomon's knot stitch. We will also be looking at the fabric, how it's constructed, how to count the rows, and so on. You can see that the fabric has 4-way stretch and drapes beautifully. It's simply a really wonderful fabric for a lightweight cover-up. Once you get into the flow of the Solomon's knot stitch, this is a pretty fast-moving project. You might find yourself making more than one. Imagine making it just a little longer and using it as a swimsuit cover-up. There are a lot of fun ways to style this light and lacy top layer. The video tutorial for this pattern comes out in just 1 week on July 1st. If you're watching from the future, I will have it linked for you in the description below. Please hit like and subscribe so you never miss a new pattern. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.